What is up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like. It's like walking in the room. Hitting the light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the real of reality TV. You know something? I'm starting to believe, as just a viewer, or someone who has been a viewer of Love and Marriage Huntsville, someone who just is trying to be on the side of right. I'm not team anybody, but I'm just seeing what I see, and it just looks like it might be something in the contract when new people come on the show. I don't know, but to me, it just appears that people who come on the show initially as supposedly a friend of Melody's winds up either not being a friend of hers or straddling the fence, or just, quite frankly, completely on Holt's side, even in him being wrong. And I just cannot get with that. I definitely am questioning a lot of things. And like I said, it makes me feel like, yeah, maybe it's something in the contract. But listen, I don't believe it's in the contract. I just believe it's in the individual. And to see how Stormi, who came on the show, like, this is just what we've seen. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, she's an op or she's whatever. That, to me, listen, but just seeing how she came on the show initially, it just seemed like she was all up in Melody. Even before she came on the show as a cast member, the prior season, her home was utilized by Melody for her song video shoot. And so to me, it's just looking like, wow, you went from being on 1,000 about to fight Destiny, who was on the outs with Melody at that time, and then she started going towards saying, look, I just want to be Gucci, giving her a Gucci bag and having conversations with her. And then, low-key, which I caught it when it happened, but, low-key calling Melody an opportunist in terms of how she was going off on Wanda, and she and Destiny were making comments about the marketing queen or, whatever. And it's like, really? I don't think anybody would want to get into a fight with somebody as marketing for their business. Unless, unless you're Cardi B or somebody like that. But I'm just saying, to me, it's just like, wow. To see Stormi and now Nell, who I thought was like a mentor and someone that Melody looked up to, having a conversation about Martell going to jail and saying that you don't agree with it. What the heck are you talking about? This is just messed up.
About the Martell, his picture was out, the mugshot.
He went to jail, didn't he?
He went to jail. Was it for a text message?
Well, see, I haven't talked to Nell. Is that what it was for?
I think they said it was for a text message. I have no idea what that text message looked like.
Martell going to jail, I don't agree with it.
Why you don't agree with it?
Because I don't agree with sending someone to jail, especially
if it can be resolved.
If it can be resolved. I think as us, as a African American community, black men, going to jail.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I just don't agree with that. Y'all have kids. I feel like if something can be resolved, you should not send your ex to jail. But it's easy to say how you feel when it's not you. But until you're in those shoes, you really cannot say what you'll do and what you won't do.
Ciao. First and foremost, this is the same woman who had this monster yelling at her on her front porch because she was making the decision to go to Melody's name change ceremony that she was invited to. Okay? She already knows that this is a individual. We'll just call him that. This is not a man. We already know that this is an individual, a male, a mammal, or maybe even a monster that you can't resolve things with. Like, what do you think she's been trying to do this entire time since she has moved on from him, from the marriage, and just trying to co-parent civilly? She's talked about a number of things that has happened, and she hasn't gone into details about every single situation. I'm quite sure we all just don't even have the time, neither does she, for her to sit and tell it all and for us to sit and listen to it all. But she shared the stalkerish things that he's done, sending dozens and dozens of roses to her house. Like, if you just want to be civilly co-parenting, why are you doing that? Wearing a ring that she had bought for him, saying you're manifesting being married again. You're, insinuating things when she invited him to go on the trip that she was taking her kids to Destin, and allowed him and his mom to come along. And he's still talking about her giving him HEAD. What are you talking about? He did what he did. The law saw that there was probable cause for charges to be filed, and I believe reluctantly moved forward to do it. And that's it. And then he eventually was arrested. They didn't even go and get him the same day. So the fact of the matter is, she didn't want to go through this route either, but he's done so many terrible things. And so to just make it seem like she could just conjure up some powers within the criminal justice system to make up something so that he could be arrested. Nobody's just getting arrested just for sending someone a text message. The threats were real. And thankfully, there are measures in place where people can press charges against people, not just for the actual acts being done, but for the threats. Let's talk about this for a minute. And I know the two situations are not the same that I'm trying to explain, but think about situations where, let's say, a spouse, I was going to say a wife, but we've seen those situations before, where a wife set up a hit on their husband to be taken out. And thankfully, the person who was supposed to be the hitman had a conscience, and they had reported it, and then they wound up getting evidence, and then they acted as if the situation was carried out. And she's acting like, oh, she's so broken up, she's crying, oh my God, I can't believe my husband was taken out. And then they said, actually, he's still alive and you're under arrest. They could arrest her just simply for the threats, not for it actually happening. They can't, it wasn't like, oh, well, unfortunately, the act didn't take place, so there's nothing that we can do. No, thankfully, they have measures in place when just the mere threat has taken place, not the actual act. So for these clowns of Huntsville who believe that, oh, you should have done everything you could to try to resolve the situation with this person instead of going to the police and pressing charges and having him arrested. Like, what are you talking about? You absolutely, it's like, in some ways, she's putting herself in that situation, and maybe because she's had her own situation with her son having issues with the criminal justice system and being arrested, that she's putting her son in the shoes. But listen, if the shoe fits, wear it. But he's a monster. And she did what legally she was able to do to try to hold him accountable. And even in that, we don't even know what the outcome is going to be, because to be quite honest with you guys, I don't really feel like he's going to get any jail time. We're talking about good old boy Alabama. Yeah, it's, a lot of racism and, in the systemic racism that goes on in these states like Alabama. But when it comes to the race situation and situations like this, because it wasn't something that was like a violent act, thankfully, he's probably going to get probation or, I don't know, community service and probation or something like that. He's probably not going to serve any jail time because he's a man. Yeah, he's a black man, and we know that the criminal justice system isn't fair towards them, but honestly, they don't strike me as the type that they're going to go the extra mile to hold him accountable. And yeah, we know that allegedly he stole an ATM machine before and he was arrested and he had those charges and they ultimately were either dismissed or dropped and his record probably was expunged. So I guess they can say technically he doesn't have priors. So, you know, you couple all of those things together, you gather them all up, and the ultimate in the situation is probably going to be not him serving time. Like, let's just be honest. Of course, I know a lot of people would love to see that. I am definitely on board with it happening. But as much as I can't stand him, I just don't see that happening for him. Just like with Trump, I can't stand him and all that he's going through. I highly doubt he's going to spend any time behind bars. So to hear Nell and Stormi having a discussion about him and saying, you know, I don't agree with it. Who cares what you agree with? First of all, it's none of your business. So to see those two doing a scene where they're discussing that situation, and at least one of the two of those people was supposed to be a friend of Melody, it strikes me as really weird, you know? So that's why I started this off by saying, I don't know, maybe there's something in these people's contracts that they bring onto the show later that's like saying, okay, when you come on initially, you're going to be Melody's friend, but you need to do something or say some things or whatever that it's going to sever the trust that she has for you in the relationship, and then you no longer are friends. Because I feel like it's playing into that false narrative, the lie, when we know that all Martell Hotel, Arion's baby white Holt, has tried to do is to besmirch her character and just make her seem like a terrible person. And we remember on the reunion when the first season that Stormi was on the show as a cast member, and at the reunion he was telling her, you know, retreat now, you know, because she always turns on her friends or whatever. This is what he has been playing into for a while now, to just make it seem like Melody's not a good friend. She drops you like a bad habit. She's not a good friend to anyone. Everyone that she's been friends with, she's had a falling out with. And I beg to differ. I'm one of those people where I get it. When you are successful and you have a lot of things going on in your life, people change. And it's not always you. Sometimes it is everybody else. That old saying, it can't be everybody, it must be you. That's not true all the time. Sometimes it is everybody else. I'm just being honest. Listen, guys, it's just disgusting to see men like, well, he's not a man. Males like him need to be held accountable. Stop giving these clowns and these losers and these dangerous people passes because they're a black man, and you know how the justice system is with black men or whatever. How about just do right? Why is it that especially black women have to be the ones to suffer, bear everything, grin and take it, smile in public, cry in private, suffer in silence, and act like you're strong in the public eye? It's not fair. It's not right. How about just be a good man? I don't care if you didn't have your father in your life. I'm tired of that narrative. Of course, children definitely need examples, but honestly, everybody doesn't have that. When you're a 40-something-year-old man, okay, take accountability for your life. You have children. Stop trying to use the excuse of, well, I didn't have my dad in my life when I grew up. Do you know how many people that actually are doing the right thing did not have everything that they needed growing up? Every person that could have been in their life to help them to succeed and to thrive and to do well. You learn, you live, and you do what you have to do. When you know better, you do better. So stop being a loser because you had losers as parents. Grow up. Grow up. You know, it's just really ridiculous when I hear people make these excuses about, well, you know, he's a black man. And like, okay, so what did he have to do? Did he have to like sit there and sock her in the eye with a closed fist over and over again for people to believe that he is dangerous and that he deserves to be held accountable? It's just absolutely ridiculous. This is just a text message. I heard it's a text message. Okay. Girl, goodbye. I just can't. I can't with these people. I just wanted to talk about that for a minute. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.